Hello. Cool. And live chat. Uh, hello. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Now, let's see. This is not exactly my first time, but still kind of new to doing this. So apologies for the rough edges. But I think it's good. And if you'd like to join on voice, we could work out something. Or we can just do text chat. That's also cool. For now, we'll go ahead and get started on the prompt. So, okay, so let's see, how do I join one of the voice channels? Painting chat. Is there not any other voice channels on MZ4250's server? Can just do a direct call. And I realize I did not hook up my tracker.
Oh wait, I gotta mute your stream. This is confusing.
this should tracking. Okay, cool. So then we just say Shift R. Hey, there we go. Welcome. And I think your voice should be showing up in the recording. You go ahead and say something.
Hi.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Cool. I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, fine. Bit tired. But
Yep. And so for today, we have the prompt that you gave, looking to make an elf cleric miniature for a player in your D&D campaign, and found this model from MZ4250, which is awesome. The only thing is the character is a cleric of Selûne, Selûne,
Selûne, I think. I don't know.
Selûne, and there's a sun, kind of the opposite of
Yeah,
her
exactly.
motif. So we'll go through a little bit of how to do this, where you, I don't, you can follow along if you want to, but I'm mostly just going to be doing it for you.
Yeah, no, I just realized I don't have Blender on this PC,
Okay,
so
so that's fine.
I think
I'll
I might do it later for your
mostly
vlog.
just be talking about what I do as I do it. Again, I'm
Yeah.
kind of new to this. So we're going to replace the sun with a moon or one of the stars from Selûne symbols. So the first thing we'll do is look up that, because I'm not 100% focused. There you go. So I guess the first thing is to get this model. So this one is
Yes, it's
the
the
female elf light
Light
paladin.
Cleric with the Mace and Shield STL.
Okay, instead of sword. So with Mace and Shield.
Yeah.
So the way this works is you've got the STL
Or on the
file.
blend file, of course. Yeah.
Yep. The STL file has the pre-recorded into just like what you'd want to put into a printer, and then the uh, blend file has. We'll see if it's rigged. You might even be able to change the positioning, but the main thing is that's just what he was working on.
Yeah, so I did open it on Blender on my laptop,
Mhm.
but yeah, no clue how it worked. So
Yep.
I could only manage to remove the sun because it was like a separate object entity thing. That's as far as I got.
Okay. So oh, Blender, it opened up the wrong version too. Okay, so we've got our downloaded file. We'll get that into Blender. Open. Okay, a lot going on here. So what do we have? We have hmm, uh, we do have a rig. We have, let me make the UI bigger. Can I? I guess we can, we're doing voice. I can hide the text chat. Okay, so can you see it well enough? The hierarchy here?
Yeah, I can read everything. Yeah.
Okay, so we're not gonna need to render anything, so we can just delete the lamps. I mean, you could leave them, but Maybe makes it a little easier to see what's going on. And then we've got, so as a base, do you want the base to print, or will you be putting it on another base?
Yeah, no, right now I'm just putting it on this base, and
Okay.
I think I can manage to swap it out if I want to myself.
Okay.
This is fine for now.
And then we've got the mace, which you obviously want to keep. And we got the kite shield.
Yeah.
Which is in fact a separate piece from cylinder. You just hide that. We've got a flowing cape. That's cool. And then the armature if you wanted to move things around. But I think you said you're fine with everything except for the shield. So
yeah, that's
we'll focus
all
on
fine.
that. And then the other thing we need is Selûne. So Lady Silver, Moon Maiden, and
Yeah, I think if you Google a Selûne symbol,
yes.
there's a few examples.
Okay. So it's a fairly complicated symbol, I guess.
Yeah, it's way too detailed for my printer. So I thought just one of those stars, so the
Okay.
like with the 4 spikes and the circle around it, I think that would
Okay.
be very cool.
Yeah. What I'm gonna start with is see can I find an SVG, because then I won't have to trace it. Selûne symbol icons. Nope, that's just a. We'll probably have to trace it. But that's fine. Okay. So we'll just get this one. Copy. Can we paste it directly? No. So we're gonna save this image. And then we're gonna start with just making the object, and then we'll move it onto the shield. So I can Shift A to add any of these, because we're just going to delete it. Actually, do we start with mesh? Yeah, we can start with mesh. We can do mesh. So if I do the / key, it hides everything else, and we're focused on this. And then I can also pull in the view. I think there's somewhere in here, there is a way to add a background image, which I will have to remember. So view. I feel like there was add, not in mesh. Maybe it was like a add an image. Image reference. There we go. Add an empty reference. Okay. And we'll give it a bit of size. We'll just make it, you can see in the bottom right corner how much bigger it's going to make it. But you can also just type numbers. So I can say type 10. So it's now 10 times bigger than 1. We actually probably don't even need to do that. Let's just keep it that size and we'll scale this down. So in here, zoom in. Okay, so we're making a mesh and we're going to focus on this thing up here. I'm going to move this until the center is right in the middle. So that's what we'll be making. I will go to vertex mode. And now we can move all these around. Why is it snapping? Turn off snap mode. Snap. Okay. So we'll start with this right whatever. This thing right here. We'll do the diamond star thing. Yeah. So if I start off, I can be really precise with it. It really doesn't matter for art, especially at this scale. But I can just start with saying I only want one of these vertices, and I want it to be in on the cursor. So this puts it right at the spot in the middle. And then I can just drag it up so it's right at the point here on the grid. And then we'll scale this up to be it there. Now I can when I'm editing this, I can push the E key and it extrudes it, is what they call it. So I'm going to go to here and then to here. I guess, yeah, I don't really need it to be precise. You could try and keep snapping it. But really, if you wanted it to be perfect, you could also choose to make it have a symmetrical. So I did an F there to connect, to bridge those two vertices. And then F to fill it. So it's now one face. And then I can E extrude that face up. So I've got that star. So again, you can decide if you want it to be precise, but we're not. I don't know that it really matters. You could try and get your grid to be show the grid. I guess you should tell me which you prefer. I'm happy to keep to make it perfect, like it was made on a machine or metal.
No, yeah, that's. I mean, for this skill, it's really. I don't think you can tell.
Yeah, you
So
really
this
can't.
is more than fine. Yeah. Like
So
I don't have a 16K resin printer. Just.
So I'll grab it up. You might even actually have trouble printing these sharp corners then.
Maybe a little, but
anyway, we'll also just say Shift A, add a circle. When we're inside, when we're editing a mesh, so we're in edit mode and we've got this mesh selected, it will add it to the mesh as opposed to making a new one. So I can add circle. And yeah, we really are working at a small scale. So the reason the grid is so big is actually because it's set up for small. But so we can push the S key, does scale. All of the shortcuts in Blender by default are mnemonic. So you can just remember, I'm trying to extrude, I push E. I'm trying to scale, I push S. I'm trying to add, I push A. Or Shift A. I'm trying to select all, that's A. Or deselect all. So if I say A, that selects all. If I say A again, it deselects all. It starts toggling between them. If I'm hovering over one with my cursor and I say L, it selects all of the linked ones that are under that cursor. So I can select it again easily. We'll scale down here and bring it over our circle. Now this has, it's actually just polygon. And actually I want to not extrude that just yet, because we can go ahead and make it. I was thinking you could do like a Boolean, combine them afterwards, but we can just do it one thing. So anyway, circle, scale it down. Close enough. And then Shift D, D is for duplicate. And S, scale it down there. And really, I guess that's all you need. You can just select all and extrude, or F. You take these two, F to, well, Shift, what is it? Okay, put it in edge mode, I think, probably. Nope, okay, so to bridge them, well, it's just easier to extrude it, so delete the one, instead of duplicating, so I had done Shift D, if I had done E, it keeps them connected. So now I can do that. And I can put on, over here, I can put on X-ray mode to see the image behind it. And then, so this one still filled. And then both of those together can come up. Now the question you get to have some art, some design input here is, do you think that this ring should stand out in any way? Because right now it's one solid piece.
Oh. Oh yeah, it would be cool if it's like, you mean if the ring's a little lower, for example, or
A little
higher?
lower or a little higher. So if I make it, I can make it
I
lower, or I could make it higher.
Yeah, I think lower is cool. Yeah.
So
Oh,
I'm going to,
wait. It's both cool.
so if I select
Yeah.
these and then grab, when you're in, so to move something in Blender, once you've got it selected, it's just left click to select, or in this case I do, so you could just left click and then hold shift and then click each of these. In this case, one of the things I do is you hold alt and then you click an edge, it selects the whole ring of connected edges, and then shift alt to click both of them. So anyway, I'll do that. Now I can just push G to grab.
Yeah.
Again, mnemonic, G for grab. I'm in grab mode. So it's grab, scale, and rotate are G, S, and R. So I'm in grab. I can then, if I type the X key, it locks it on the X axis.
Oh yeah.
If I tap the Y key, it locks it to the Y axis. or in our case, I tap the Z key, it locks it to the Z axis. So I can decide how far down I want it to go. Or up. You tell me.
Yeah, I think down would probably be better. So the star is a little bit more
Okay.
the focus point.
So I can put it here where it's like just a little bit noticeable, but you might, I don't know which kind of printer you have, or I could do a little further down.
Yeah, I think I'd like half the height probably.
Half there,
I mean,
like
I'm
right
not
there.
sure how it would look. I'm printing at like 0.04 millimeters layer height, so it should be noticeable.
What printer do you have?
Century Carbon.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it's not like a printer for minis, but I'm getting some pretty good results from it.
Well, I can tell you artistically, I would put it here. If you don't know that that would be visible, I would probably do it here.
Wait, your stream's like behind your voice, so
Sorry, yes. If artistically, I would put it
or,
like
like a
2/3
little higher.
of the way.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that does look better. I do agree. Hmm.
so we'll try that. You try printing it, and then you can always come back. And we don't have to do a stream for me to change it real quick.
Yeah, thanks.
Um, and then, so really, this is it. You've got your mesh. And then we just need to add it to the shield. So right here, it's hide that, and then we rename this to star, or really Selûne's symbol, which is too small, but we'll delete this one. Delete. Oops. It really is tiny. We can just scale it up. Actually, so this here, you see the little orange dot here?
Yeah.
So that is they called it the origin, kind of based on like graphing, you know, when you do a graphing calculator, the 0, 0 is the origin. So they call it that. Um, but it's the center. Everything is based on that, and it's going to rotate around there. But it's also, I can say Shift S, cursor to selected. That'll put it at that point. So it's called the 3D cursor. It's a selected point in space, and I can then select over here, Shift S, and then say selection to cursor. And that moves this over to here. So now it's in the same spot. I'm going to set this, the object here, viewport display, color. I can set its alpha down. That doesn't work. I can set it to wireframe. That shows the wireframe. Display as wireframe. So now it's just the outline that shows. And it's kind of a good reference.
Yeah.
And I'll delete it when we're done. But so this is now in the same spot as this one. We just need to rotate it and get it to size. So we'll start with scaling it up. It's close. And then we'll do just rotate. Now, so rotate R normally is based on your viewport. It's rotating around wherever. And so you move your cursor, your mouse, you move your cursor, it rotates around that. You can put a number if you want to put like 45, or, rotate 45 degrees, be specific. But it's always around the center. So you could get to where you're just like here and you rotate and you do that a couple times. The other thing though is if you push R multiple times, so the second time you push it, RR, switch it into trackball mode. So now when you're moving it, it's rotating around that space like you've grabbed the surface of it.
Yeah.
And it allows us to say, okay, we'll get the exact like rotational fixed later, but for now we want it to match up um, with the shield. So I'm just say RR until it's kind of where it needs to be. Or in this case, just one R helps. So it's, you kind of do both. And then when I get it close to what I want, but I need to rotate it this way, I could just go here, rotate like that, or if I do R and then it's Z, well, now it's rotating in the Z dimension. So just like grab and then Z restricted it to the Z dimension. If I do rotate R and then Z, it's now rotating around the global Z. But if I hit Z a second time, now it's rotating around the local Z. So we didn't put it exactly centered, I guess, because it's kind of wobbling a little. But RZZ, we just put it to there. There you go. If I think there might be a way to set the camera to look at it a little bit easier. But really what I want is it to line up with this ridge. So I'm gonna just kind of tweak it until it gets there. So there, but then it's too far that way. So I'll just move, grab Z, or just grab it. We're gonna make it go into the shield in a second. RZZ, do it a little away from the center so that you have leverage. Now it's pretty much on the line. You probably could notice that if it was a detailed printer, it might look a little off if you don't get it perfect. But the other thing is that like it is put there by hand when you make a real shield. So you could look at it that way. Do a little bit more here. Rotate. Rotate. Why is it? Oh, keyboard keys. Just trying to make it flush from all angles. And one of the things about 3D editing is that there's just so many different ways to do it. And so if you try and learn it, it's to learn what ways are available and then how to pick kind of what is comfortable for you in the moment and then just sticking with it. So it's like I could have been precise, or just like in the beginning I said I could use the grid and try and get it perfect to the grid, and then we decided not to, and then that made it here it's not centered. Here I'm like, well, I could have tried to get the reference frame to begin with and then do it, and then it would just be perfect, but it's close enough. So now all I really need to do is just make sure it goes into the shield and doesn't stick out too much. So this right now, you see the star has that shape to it. So we can try and imitate that. That might be we'll start off by I'm gonna go to X-ray. I'm just gonna grab the the bottom ones. And so, like I just said, there's so many different ways to do it. It's easy to be like you're watching it and you're like, I wouldn't do it that way. So anyone who watches this, oh, Matisse came in. I didn't notice. Hi, Matisse. So if you're watching and you know how to do it, you're like, I wouldn't do it that way. It's like, yeah, you do kind of have, like, I wouldn't necessarily do it this way again, right? But it's still doing it. So I'm gonna just grab these and grab ZZ, grab them down. So now that they're through the shield, turn off X-ray. So now they're probably coming through the back here, so we don't want that. But the front doesn't look too bad. We probably just want to cut these down a bit.
Yeah.
I guess one question is, what's the scale we want? Yes, we probably have a little bigger here. So what this has a nice, I guess it is just a sharp edge. So we can, if we, part of what I'm fighting is the camera is in a turntable mode. Like Z is always up. So because this is where it is at this odd angle, I can't just rotate my screen to have the shield be up without rotating the shield. Or fitting with the controls some. So that's kind of where I'm struggling against a little bit. But we can make do. So if there's a knife here. Actually, is it here? There's knife. So I can just take from here to here. Escape undoes any mode, it exits out of any mode. Okay, so I'm noticing that it's probably best if I just do this. Take that knife. And then there. Oh. I guess that's fine. And back to here. That doesn't feel right. I thought there was a way to do a plain cut. If I just cut it like that, it will allow me to just select this. Grab Z.
Oh, yeah.
So that does the same shape it was before, but that's maybe not what we want. Because it doesn't have the same star. We could make it go slowly over the whole shape. That actually is easier because you don't have to cut it at all. You just move it. Grab ZZ. We could just do that. And just put this lower. We could also cut it at the circle so that's flat inside the circle, but at the instead of cutting it at this, we could cut it here. That might make sense.
Yeah, I think so.
So normally I would just click the top view button, but I also think I would probably set this. Okay. Is there a focus mode or isolation mode? So there is a focus mode. If you push slash, it puts it in isolation. But it's still the same Z up. I don't know. Shift slash, does that do anything? Nope. Frame. Oops. View. Align view to active. Top. Oops. Align view. Yeah, it doesn't. Viewpoint. I mean, normally I would probably model the. I guess I could have moved the shield. We could actually probably still do that. If we just duplicate this shield, like put it over here. We can Alt R. I think it's Alt R. No. Well, I can object clear. Alt R to clear rotation. Oh, yeah, no, it's modeled that way. It's not. You could flatten it. Might still be easier to do that. I don't know. I wonder if there's a way. A local view, toggle local view. Okay, that is the what we were doing. You can do preferences. I know there's one in here where it's just viewport and then here we go. Orbit method. So in the view, preferences, navigation. If I go to edit preferences, navigation, there's trackball. Usually when using in Blender, I prefer to stay in turntable, but you can switch to trackball, which will allow you to do this. So now my view, just like I rotated on the trackball to get it,
Yeah.
I can do that with my view. So now we can just select these two slash, and maybe switch to orthographic. So that turns off perspective mode and makes it flat view. But that still doesn't allow me to do top view. So I would, if I took those two, Shift E, and just go back to turntable. Just work on it over here. Just to make it a little easier for us. Okay. So let's take the knife, like that, like that. Like that, like that. I did not do that quite right. And then we can take all these, grab down. So oh, that one didn't get cut.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
Well, the next step for me is to ask you which you actually prefer. So here we go. Top view, cut across. So that's where we've cut it, and we didn't do a curve. We put it flat over that, and we've pulled it down. So that's one option here. So what do you think of that option?
It looks pretty cool, but yes, is it easy to curve it instead?
Yeah, so we could try, and one option is to cut it with a tool, and I can show you how to do that. We can Boolean to remove the shape and get it curved. So to do that, we would add a sphere. Add a sphere. And it's going to be actually probably almost that big. I did not make that smooth enough. Add the sphere, but we will make this like 128 segments and 64 rings. We'll take that down here. And what we'll do is we'll take this object. So this is the modifier system in Blender. You have this tool panel over here. You can, when you've got an object selected, go to modifiers and you add a modifier. I'm going to add an edit modifier. Sorry, not edit. Generate modifier, Boolean. I'm going to take the difference so I'm subtracting out an object. I'm subtracting this sphere. And actually, the intersect is the section where they're. So the subtraction, it actually uses as the cutting tool, but since it's on the, like I didn't make a bowl on the outside, that certainly would. I can hide this. It would do that. But it's not actually the cutting tool. It's the part that is not going to be cut. So do the intersect, and it does that side. Now we can select that sphere, move it around how we want. So if I grab it, keep it hidden, grabs, what? Hide? I guess you can't grab it when it's hidden. It's disappointing. We could select we can set its view in the object settings, say it is just the the wireframe. So now we can grab it, and that's what it looks like. We can scale it and grab it. Make it real big, and then make it lower. Just what curve you want. Of course, when you make it big, you could make it actually, instead of a sphere, you could make it an ellipsoid by scaling it just in X.
Yeah, that would be better. That's nice.
So there you go. That's an option.
Yeah, that's very cool. I think it would also print easier. Probably.
You have to decide how far off of the. Do you want a flat section, and how far off of the here do you want it to go?
Like the thinnest bits aren't gonna get printed, so they're gonna get rounded up
Yeah.
in the slicer probably.
So
yeah, no, I think this is fine. This looks cool. Yeah.
so like that.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool. So now there's two ways we can move it. We can either keep it keep the sphere in existence, and that like so that they have to move together, or we can apply it, and then it's just that is the shape of the mesh. So it's kind of, do you want to be able to edit this again? You know, see the original shape. It's mostly a process question for when you're working, deciding when you want to apply things versus keep them editable, because you have to manage more things if they're still around. Can be slower, or you can apply it. So if you want to apply it, you come here and you say this drop down, you say apply, and now that actually is the shape of it. You could edit it as a mesh. So it will just make it easier for us to move it around. Not have to worry about the sphere. We can just hide that sphere. We just have to get it over here. So this thing here is already positioned, and we have the same coordinate system. So if we say object, you can apply. Oh no, okay, that just, so applying it will actually put it into the positions of the vertexes. What I'm trying to remember is if there's a way to copy. My character keeps dancing. I guess I don't. We'll just have to go over here and copy it. So the rotation of this, that's the 3D cursor location. The item rotation. So we copy these. I think there's a way to do them all at once, but so now it's kind of rotated in the same way. It's just not in the same spot. And then we can do the same for putting it in the same spot, or we can set the cursor to selection and then select selected to cursor. So now they're in the same spot. We just hide the old one. And we see there, that's what we want. So we hide that. And is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, it's perfect. Thanks so much.
Cool.
I, I hope it prints well.
Yeah. So then now the next step is to get it ready to print. So this all, we can rename this to uncut. And that there. We just put it in that collection. We don't need this one anymore. And we don't need this anymore because it's not even in the same spot. Oh, we need to make sure that doesn't get kept. So C goes into like a brush select. There's one way to select things. But we really kind of have to do another cut, I guess, if we want that to not be visible. Maybe I should have kept that sphere. Mesh UV sphere. Okay, that's closer. Oh, except the right. I guess a cylinder would be fine. I guess I shouldn't have moved it off that shield so quickly. Okay. Okay, so we'll take that onto this. We'll add that modifier again. Generate Boolean. And this one we do want to use difference because we're using it as the cutting tool. Oh, it actually is cylinder, I think. No. This one is cylinder. Object cylinder. Okay, there we go. All that matters is it doesn't show up on the outside, on the inside.
Yeah.
So everything else, that's fine. I'll just apply that. So if we look at that on its own, it looks like, oh, but now it's not manifold? It didn't. It's should keep those. Manifold. There we go. Yes, that's what we want. Apply. Okay. But we have a bunch of things that are intersecting. I don't know if that matters for your slicer. So
Yeah, no clue.
the one option is to just find out. The other option is we could take all of these. Actually, what we could do, we'll save this. Probably should save more often. Moon Cleric? No, it's specifically not Moon. Selûne Cleric, because it's not a moon. So we will, if we import the STL, we can look at that. So over here we had STL. We can just look at what he puts out. Drag that in, import. So this is, if I go into edit this, there's a lot of faces. I didn't ever try to open that one, but is
Yeah, it's like a
there?
million
If I just
polygons.
say L, okay, so see how it does actually. If I select this, it is actually still a separate piece.
Okay. Yeah, no, so I have printed this one
One
without trouble, so I guess the new one should also be fine.
does this. I noticed that it is remeshed though, so it might. No, it definitely is intersecting. So yeah, you'll be fine, I think.
Probably.
Um, so just I will select all. Actually, I'm curious. This, yep, plenty of vertices. File, export, STL. And we can pull that into Cheetah Box. See what happens. Oops, that's the old version. I need to uninstall that. I want the new Cheetah Box. Do you use Cheetah Box or Lychee or something else?
None of what is Cheetah Box? Never heard of it.
You well, sorry. Do you have a resin printer or a FDM
No,
printer?
FDM.
Okay. Um, then I guess this is somewhat irrelevant. But this is the for resin printers. The slicer de jour. And then we just drag this in here. Let's see what it says. So it does notice that there's a little bit of the overlaps, but on all of the things. And then we
Oh, okay.
slice it. So the way the resin printers work, the slicing is this image that is what gets shown on the resin printer. And so, like on the LCD of the printer. So you can see here's what it would do when it gets to that spot.
Yeah.
Oop. So it's an interesting shape there. What is causing that?
Huh.
Oh, that's just the nature of the inner.
Yeah, it's just an angle.
Yeah, so the way this curve here, when it gets to there, because it's cutting at a different angle from there, it shows up on the inside of it before it shows up on the outside. So I think that's pretty good. You can try and print it, see what happens. I will put it in the description of this video, and it's
Yeah.
a VOD,
Thanks.
and I will put it in MZ 4250's chat room where you asked for it.
Yeah. Will you share
And I'll put it
the
in the
blend
remix
file?
drive as well.
Will you send the blend file
Yes, I will do both.
also?
The
Yes. Nice.
yep.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, man, for taking the time for this.
Yeah. Thanks for watching me and your interest.
Yeah. No, I'll definitely also fiddle around with the blend file a bit.
Yeah.
See if I can replicate it.
And
Just
if you have any comments on things I could do better, you could say here now, or you could do it in a text later. I'd be happy to receive that, your thoughts. Or anyone else watching, you put a comment, like, subscribe. I hope to do more of this kind of thing.
I'll write you a message, I think. Yes.
All right. And I will think that's it. All right. Thank you.
Yes. Bye bye.
In the stream.